Dallas going for two. If they don't make it, game's over. Dak's going to run it himself, and he is in. Still technically alive are the Cowboys against these Green Bay Packers. But what a game has this been. Man, I mean, talk about a shocker. I did not think this was going to happen at all. I like this Packers team a lot, but I just didn't see a scenario where they're going to go into Dallas and drop 48 points on the Cowboys? On Dan Quinn and that defense? Micah Parsons and those guys? I mean, Dallas has been acting and talking such a big game this year as if they're the best team in the NFL. And then this happens? Come on. Gotta be better. And if Mike McCarthy gets fired after this game, I would not be shocked at all. Now they have to get an onside kick. They're down by 2 scores with 3 minutes. I mean, the game is pretty much over. That touchdown essentially meaningless. 48-32. Here's the onside kick attempt. And Green Bay's on it. And Green Bay's got it. And that pretty much seals the game. Dallas, it has been, 28 years now since they have been to the NFC Championship game. Green Bay's been to it 9 times. Oh my gosh. Jerry Jones, how could he be happy about this? How could Jerry Jones be happy? I would honestly, here's my prediction. I think Belichick's going to the Cowboys. I think this job is going to be, I think McCarthy's getting fired after this one. To go 12-5 and then lose at home. Not only lose at home, but to the youngest team in the NFL. The Packers average age 25. They're the youngest team in the NFL. And, even without the pick six, their offense scored 41. Their defense adds another 7, and it's game over. And, you can look back and say, imagine if they never did get that pick six. Could have been an entirely different game, and that's true. It could have been. Because if the Cowboys score on that drive instead of the Packers, that changes the entire trajectory of this thing. And so ultimately, a lot of blame on this does go to Dak. He, unfortunately, that pick six kind of blew it for his team. Any chance of coming back, that pick six kind of sealed it. And so, yeah, a lot of credit to the Packers, though. Aaron Jones especially has had a great game. Jordan Love hasn't even thrown the ball that much. 16 for 20, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns. What a game. Man, what a game. And these are two of the biggest fan bases in the NFL. We're going to tune in now, 3rd and 7. So, Green Bay, if they convert here, Dallas is now out of timeouts. So if Green Bay converts on this play, they would still need one more first down, but then it's kneel downs. If Dallas gets a stop, they get the ball back again. And looks like Green Bay is going to take a timeout. Wow. I will say this. If there's one team that knows how to blow a huge lead in the playoffs, it is the Green Bay Packers. We saw them do it against my favorite team, the Seahawks, back in 2014. Aaron Rodgers had a 20, I believe it was 23-7. 22-7. It was 22-7. And then Seattle comes back and win it in overtime, 28-22. So, and the coach in that loss was Mike McCarthy, the same guy who now is the coach for the Cowboys, who's about to get fired. Jordan Love's going to throw it, and it's dropped. That is a risky move to throw the ball there. A, because it gives another clock stoppage to Dallas. But B, if Jordan Love throws a pick there, that actually really does change the trajectory of the game. So I'm not sure why you would ever throw the ball on that. That is a really weird play call, and in my opinion, that was the wrong play call. I'm no football coach, but let's see what they do. They're going to punt it. Dallas, I mean, the chances that Dallas comes back in this thing are so slim. They're going to try, but here's the punt. Fair catch at the 6. So Dallas, with no timeouts and 2 minutes to go in this game, they would have to go 94 yards downfield and then score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion and get the ball back, which presumably has to be an onside kick this time. And you've got to then score another touchdown and another 2-point conversion, and that's just in order to tie the game. But we'll see what they do. Dak's going to drop back to throw. Downfield, deep, off the hands, almost intercepted. CeeDee Lamb. Yeah, Dak's numbers look fine, but the interceptions is what killed them in this game. And specifically that pick 6, it'll always be, what if Dak didn't throw that pick 6? Really does change the game. And yeah, Cowboys fans, if you want someone to be mad at, the two guys I'll have to blame is Dan Quinn and Dak Prescott. Dak again going to drop back. Throws downfield. This time it's caught. And that'll take you to the 2-minute warning. There's not enough time left. Dak wants to call a timeout, but there is no timeouts left. I don't know if he realizes that or not, but that is the 2-minute warning right there. So, yeah, there you go. 48-32 Green Bay Packers in an absolute blowout. Yeah, so, kind of going back to what I was talking about with the Cowboys, I don't think this loss is necessarily Mike McCarthy's fault. I tend to think he's a pretty good coach. He has won a Super Bowl in Green Bay. And the past 3 seasons, 3 straight 12-win seasons. That's pretty good. Not many teams can do that. The Patriots, the Chiefs, but there's not a whole lot of other teams in the league who are winning 12 games 3 seasons in a row. And so, who's to blame on this one? Is it, personally, I think Dan Quinn, defense, and Dak for throwing that pick. I really don't think this game is really on Mike McCarthy. I'm not really sure what the screw-ups there were. I guess just having a bad game plan in the first quarter. But the second half, the offense has been cooking. It's really just, if Dak doesn't throw that pick 6, this is an entirely different game. And unfortunately, you can't really blame Mike McCarthy for Dak making a mistake like that. So if I was Jerry Jones in Dallas, I'd keep Mike McCarthy. I think he's a better coach right now than Bill Belichick is. Maybe that's crazy to say, but Bill has not won in quite a while. And he really hasn't won with any quarterback besides Tom. So if I'm Mike McCarthy, I'm sticking with Mike. Or if I'm Jerry Jones, I'm sticking with Mike McCarthy. But I know that's not how the Cowboys operate. So I think there's a very good chance Mike McCarthy is getting fired. There's a very good chance Dan Quinn is getting fired. And I think Jerry Jones looks at Bill Belichick, now is available, and says, not only can I bring in this coach who has 6 Super Bowl rings, think of the money. I mean, the amount of viewers they already have, they could increase that even more by bringing in Belichick. I mean, that is a big name to add to what is already the biggest brand in all of sports. So yeah, I think that's what Jerry Jones wants to do, and I think that's what's going to happen. And Dan Quinn, a guy who, very recently we were talking about as potentially going to be the head coach of a team like the Panthers. He has an interview set up for the Panthers. Seattle has also apparently interested in him. So there's a couple teams that are interested in Dan Quinn to be their next head coach. But after this game, letting the Packers drop 41 on you, I don't know if you can honestly make Dan Quinn your head coach. Here's Dak's going to drop back, throw, pressure coming. He'll dump it off. Ferguson gets out of bounds, stops the clock. I mean, really, this game comes down to, can you convert the 2-point? I don't doubt Dallas's ability to score a touchdown. I think they can score 2 touchdowns. I don't doubt that. What this game comes down to is, can you get the 2-point conversions, and can you get that onside kick? They're 0 for 2 so far. Dak again, going to throw, dropping back. Again, lots of pressure. Packers are bringing the heat right now, and again, he hits Jake Ferguson. Yeah, 37 for 53, 362 yards, 3 touchdowns, but those 2 interceptions just killed him. And this is why, I mean, Dak, for as good as he is in the regular season, for as good as he has been in his career, I don't think he's ever going to be a Tier 1 quarterback. I think the best he is a top of the Tier 2. He's never going to be at Mahomes' levels. He's never going to be at the level that, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. He's never going to be one of those guys. Throwing down the field, and that one could have been picked if the Packers were in a better position. Yeah, I mean, he's just never going to be that Tier 1 guy. And you can win Super Bowls with Tier 2. You can't. The Eagles have shown that. Denver, at the end of Peyton's career, I don't know if I'd consider him a Tier 1 at that point. They won it with Peyton in his final season. The Rams with Stafford. I don't think Stafford's a Tier 1 guy. I think he's a Tier 2. And again, you can win with Tier 2 quarterbacks. And Joe Flacco. But there's another throw, first down again. But it's a lot harder to. Because if you go back and look at the Super Bowls, Chiefs with Mahomes, Tier 1. Patriots with Brady, Tier 1. Packers with Aaron Rodgers, Tier 1. Drew Brees and the Saints, Tier 1. Russell Wilson on the Seahawks. I think he was a Tier 1 guy at that point in his career for a long while. So there are some, Big Ben won a couple rings with the Steelers, Tier 1 guy. And I don't think Dak is that same level of Tier 1. I think right now, again, he's trying to call timeout. He does not have timeouts. I don't understand what Dak is trying to do here. I guess, is he calling a play? I don't know. Is he going to stop the clock? No, he's going to throw end zone, and that is almost a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee is a good receiver. I'll give him that. CeeDee is a great receiver. But yeah, to win with a Tier 2 quarterback, it's just not easy in the NFL. Like Jimmy Garoppolo made it to the Super Bowl. Jared Goff made it to the Super Bowl, but those guys are not Tier 1, and we saw them get exposed in the Super Bowl. And even the best of the best. Right now, I would argue Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, they're probably the only Tier 1 quarterbacks that are, and I'm not even sure about Lamar. I know he's going to win the MVP this year, but he's got to prove himself in the playoffs too before I can give him that Tier 1 title. Aaron Rodgers I don't think is anymore. You could argue for, I guess Joe Burrow when he's healthy probably would be the 4th guy. And Dak's going to get hit on 3rd and 3, and now the game's really over. Now it's 4th down. Cowboys get one more chance, but I mean it's pretty much over. 30 seconds left. So do you go for the first? I guess you got to go for the first down technically. Keep it alive. And Packers are playing protect defense. Dak's gonna haul it out, end zone, and off the back of the end zone, game over. Packers win officially. Not that there was much of a question if they would win. And yeah, that's the ball game. 48-32. Man, 80 points put up in this game. How about that? 80 points. If you bet the over today, you're probably feeling pretty happy. But yeah, that's my take on this game. Dallas, they have a Tier 2 quarterback, and Dak probably never going to be Tier 1. So now the question is, how do you win with a Tier 2 quarterback? Can you win with a Tier 2 quarterback? You can, but it's a lot harder to. And now Dallas, going into this offseason, they have a lot of question marks, especially on that coaching staff, and especially with Dak, really well in the regular season, but in the game that matters the very most, unable to get the job done. This is Coast to Coast Sports. Like, subscribe, comment down below for more content just like this.